2 here on BBC One. William Powell stars with Jean Arthur in The Ex-Mrs. Bradford. First, James Cameron takes a look at some homemade film which was caught in time.
The village of St Boswells is near Melrose in Roxburghshire, about 30 miles from Edinburgh, by Dryburgh Abbey, right in the heart of the Walter Scott country. Somebody, once upon a time, some amateur, decided to make a film about the village. We don't know who it was. We don't know why it was done. We don't even know exactly when, although we suspect the early 1930s. The film was found in a junk shop where it had been lying abandoned and forgotten. It probably has never been seen publicly for the last 40 years. We resurrected the film because it shouldn't be forgotten, since it was made by somebody who not only clearly knew and loved St Boswells, but had an eye for character and for texture, and shot this thing with a kind of intimate innocence that nowadays you associate with really contemporary techniques. You'll see what I mean. This is much more than a home movie of the family on the lawn kind. It knows where it's going. It's pointless us going through it scene by scene. The whole thing is a composed essay on the life and times of a Scottish village 4 decades ago, and it has to be accepted as a whole. These freeze frames stopping the action, we've done that ourselves. But those old projectors had this device of halting the film, so the filmmaker could have done it if he'd wanted to. Obviously, this unknown, anonymous filmmaker knew these St Boswells villagers very well. He was almost certainly one of them himself. For an amateur director, it was really quite brave to be so simple, so direct, so uncomplicated, just to let these splendid Scots faces tell their own story. In a way, it's a refreshment that there wasn't any sound facility in those days. It might have spoiled this dually lyrical effect. I find it interesting that it's the older people, or the very small, who accept the camera so placidly and philosophically. It's the younger ones who tend to be coy and self-conscious. I suppose they were more aware of the movies. You see, this director must have known this lady well enough to tell her, "Hey, Maggie, come along back and date again." Isn't it interesting that the cameraman walks up to people to get them in closer shot? 40 years ago, he developed a technique that every newsreel uses now, only now it's often done on the zoom lens. These old steam trains, they always get my money. It's about the only nostalgia I've got. And you see the old LNER railwaymen with proper uniforms, not these grim Nazi-style caps they have to wear now. I suppose that by now we must have met almost everyone in St Boswells at that time. We don't know who any of them were. We've done all kinds of research, but no good. Their faces survive, but their names do not. As usual, the kids jostle about to get into shot, and then when they are on camera, they pretend to go all shy. It doesn't happen so much now, they're too used to it. But in the 1930s, a movie camera couldn't have been all that common. Curling now. It's a long time since I saw curling. You know, it's a sort of bowls played on ice, and you don't use bowls. You use these very heavy curling stones made of a special stuff called Ailsa Craig granite. They call it the roaring game because of the odd noise the stones make on the ice. The broom business is intrinsically part of the act. They call it souping up. Soup, soup, they cry, clearing the passage of the stones over the ice. I suppose it must help, or they wouldn't do it. The lowland Scots never do anything without a point. You know we admire this filmmaker, but he still falls into the trap we've so often met, how to get 3 or more people into a close shot without waving the camera about. Well, that was the work of an unknown craftsman, and that was St Boswells village 40-odd years ago. If there's anyone still alive there who recognizes himself or herself, do drop us a line. We'd really like to know.
For 16 years now, it's been assumed that